Right. Okay, Abid, I start the learning outcome too. I hope you can hear me very well, yeah?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So, computing research methods be able to plan a computer-based research project on a topic with computer science. So here, basically, we have to discuss the structure of proposal. What is the research proposal and its parts, and then you need to discuss on the data collection methods, how you will be collecting the data using certain methods, and then need to discuss about the feasibility of the proposal, which should discuss the scope, selection of topic, structure, managing time, managing data collection. So let us start. The research proposal structure should have some, the structure uh, into the elements are in a sequence which should start with a title. The title of your research proposal should have been given in one or two sentences. As we studied at the beginning of the unit, that you have to understand what the research is, what are the research methods, what are the sampling techniques, what are the information gathering and interpreting tools that you will be using for your research. The learning outcome too uh, helps you to understand the research proposal and its structure, so that you should be able to create your own research proposal and carry on a particular research of your own interest, in order to understand that how you can do the research and to answer your assignments of this unit. So the title, you should start with a title of your research proposal. For example, your title should answer the question, what is your research about? It should be a short and concise phrase. For example, if you want to say that investigation of the effectiveness of modern programming languages, or the analysis of uh, an object-oriented programming language, or the acceptance of uh, an old programming languages, or the analysis of uh, the differences between the modern programming languages and old programming languages. So there could be many more titles, but the title should be a short, concise phrase that what the topic, what the research is about. Then you really need to uh, explain, summarize your research in the next title or topic is abstract. Once in your proposal document you gave a title of your research, then your abstract part of the project proposal will explain about everything of your research from A to Z. Now, how? Let us see. An abstract of a proposal should include the topic, what the topic of your study is, aims of your study, that why you want to do the study, who will be involved into the research, the methods and time frame. It is usually concluded with a statement that explains the relevance of the research, why it is indeed. Abstracts for the proposal are generally in future tense. You outline what you intend to do. For more information on writing abstracts, so abstract is basically the topic you are doing, its aims, and who will be involved, which methods will be involved, and what do you expect the results of your research. So overall, abstract is a kind of summary that what is the document what is your research from A to Z and what do you expect at the end. Then the next part is introduction or background. Basically, you write a title on a first page, and on the second page normally you write the abstract, and the first formal component or the part of the abstract, the proposal which you can really start in detail is the introduction and or background. So what is the introduction and or background? In some proposals, the introduction and background are separate. So you can either include into one, or you can write these different sections like introduction and then background. However, you can give the name like introduction and then you can include the introduction and background of the research into introduction, or maybe you can write down the background title and in the background you introduce something and then discuss the background. So in others, they serve as the same purpose or and are combined. So no matter if you combine it or if you keep separate, the overall purpose is to introduce your research and give some background on the existing research. Both an introduction and background sections outline why you choose your topic. So obviously, in a way, you will explain your research, and on the basis of the background, you chose a particular topic. The section should include what prompted your interest in the topic, that why you were attracted towards the topic, relevance to previous research. You need to include that whatever your topic you are doing, and obviously you explain that why and what things were attractive to you, and then you need to compare the relevance of your research with the previous research. That's called the literature review, that how the existing literature is relevant with your topic, and then what your research will contribute to the research and the field. So three more important things, that why you chose the research and what type of the research is related with your research, and what will be the contribution to the research in the field, means how your research will be helpful in the field. So it is necessary that within the background you should start with the your reason of your research, then relevance, and how your research will be beneficial. And it could also include, and not necessary in the heading, that your research objectives of the hypothesis and literature review in a separate section. So however, you can write down the hypothesis and literature review with titles of those. Otherwise, your overall introduction and background should include these three important things. Research question. What is the research question you are trying to find the answer to? This can also be termed as the aim or purpose of the research. Think about how you finish this statement. The purpose of research is, or maybe you can write down that how to solve a problem of XYZ. For example, how to implement the particular accounting technique. For example, you have a question that how to implement accounting in software, how to create an earth software, how to create a biological computing software, or how to use IT in medical science. So that is your research question. Then you will be doing research, obviously starting with your research topic, and then reviewing the existing research, and then after you did this particular study, and then you come to a conclusion that what benefit of your research are expected, what benefits of your research are expected. Now The next section is the literature review. The literature review of a research proposal may draw on a detailed review that you have already conducted. It means you have gone through the existing research. Whatever you have done, you should have a detailed listings of the review, or maybe specific to the development of your proposal. Your literature review needs to demonstrate that you have read broadly on the topic and its wider context, so that you should not come up with a disappointment that the research that you wanted to do is already been done. So literature review helps you to study the relevant experiences and the relevant research already been done into the area or topic, and so that you can reference to that particular researches and to give their contributions, and to give the credit to their contributions as well, and then your own ideas of the research to be included. So it should highlight trends in the literature relating to your research topic, including research areas, methodology, theoretical approaches, and findings. Information such as where the literature is mainly coming from, other countries, areas that is focused on could be considered. Your review should outline some of the limitations and gaps in the literature that you have identified. So, by reviewing the existing literature, you try to find out certain limitations and gaps in the literature, in the existing area, in the existing field. Whatever the limitations they have, you know by reviewing the existing research, and then you got motivated that if there are certain limitations, then you want to try to remove those limitations and work on those limitations in order to complete the research and to give a contribution to the research. So you need to draw on your literature review to justify your own research. So whatever the literature review you did, you justify that you have to research because of that reason, and your research purpose is achieved, that why you did that particular research, what shortcomings you found, and how you wanted to fulfill or remove those shortcomings. Indicate the gaps your research is addressing and note the original contribution it will make to the field in general. So overall, obviously, you want to do some research, you need to research on something which is missing, and the missing things would be identified through the literature review. You point out what is scarce, what is missing in the literature, and then your work on that particular missings, shortcomings, is basically the contribution in the field that you contribute after reviewing it. The literature review helps to inform and set up your theoretical framework, methodology, and research design. So obviously, whatever the research has been done according to any particular theory, framework, or methodology, you basically come up with a conclusion and selection of the methodology, framework, and design, that how you will initiate and carry on your research overall. Theoretical framework, basically there is a theory behind any concept or phenomena. According to that particular theory, you believe on the particular topic or phenomena. So drawing on a different theories, you have identified in your literature review, you need to identify which theoretical approach or approaches will be implied in your research and why. So any research which has been proved to be successful or incomplete or needs an attention to do any further research on that particular topic should have been proved according to certain theory. For example, if we say that according to the theory, any particular computer programming logic and idea is not efficient as it should be. So, using that particular theory, phenomena, idea, and or any algorithm or way to prove that particular theory or concept, you need to select that particular theory or framework so that you should use that particular theory into your research in order to produce an improved results for your research, and that the role of that theory will help you to evaluate your research and findings as compared to the existing research done by the selected theory framework by the others who did that particular theoretical research on the basis of that particular theoretical frame. So, the theoretical frame is necessary to be selected and reviewed for your particular research proposal. So, you need to include the title of your research, the abstract, introduction, research question, review, theoretical framework, and then next is the methodology, that how you will be carrying out your research. Some proposals distinguish between methodology, the way of how you will gather your data, and the methods or the research design. So how you will be doing your research. In discussing the methodology, you need to draw on a reviewed literature and consider the different methodological approaches used. Your methodology may include your research paradigm and epistemologies that underpin your research and your rationale for this. For example, we discussed lots of research methodologies. Those were quantitative as well as qualitative, basic research, the applied research, and many more discussed in previous session. So you really need to select the methodology, whether it will be experimental, whether it will be applied, whether it will be quantitative, whether it will be quantitative. So you should have very much clear about the methodology that you will be using in your research. So the methodology is important. Now, research design and method, again, as with the theoretical framework and methodology, it is important to demonstrate that you have read other studies in your area of research. You should be able to address the strengths and limitations of the methods in the similar research and justify why you have chosen the method you have. So, not only selection of the research method and the way you will be doing your research is important, but it is also important that you should focus and give your opinion that why that particular research method and the way you will be designing your research and carrying out your research is chosen, and what was the flaws, limitations in those particular methods of the research, and the reasoning behind a selection of particular research method for your research. So it is important. In your method, you should discuss the following aspects, such as participants of your research, who will you be doing your research with. For example, the research could involve any individual, two people will be researching. It could involve any business, organizations. What is your sample size and its parameters? So it should be very much clear that what will be the parameters of your research, how you will be collecting the data, how will you go about the collecting your information. Possibly the information could be the surveys, experiments, interviews. This should also include any equipment or instruments that you will need. So the participants' data collection are important. Then the data analysis and discussions we discussed earlier. that once you have a data, then that data should have been analyzed, obviously using certain data analysis tools. They give you an organization of the data in order to come to a conclusion and discussion. So once you have the information, what will you do with it? Include any tools you will use to assist you with the analysis, any programs or models or tools we discussed, and there was a website as well. You can find out lots of data interpreting tools for the research. And then you should know about the limitations of your methods, like look at your methodology and consider any weaknesses or limitations that may occur as a result of your research design. Address the limitations by indicating how you will minimize them. So obviously, it is not a bad idea or it is not a negative thing that you list out the limitations of your research, or you list out the limitations of your methodology that you have used. You should have been very much fair and sincere with your research about the clarity of your research, about the clarity of your topic, what you have identified, what you have used, and if you don't have resources, if there are certain limitations of your results, or if there are certain limitations in your methodology of the result, and why there is a limitation, so that that limitation could still be visible and maybe somebody else can retake your work and can work on your existing research by starting from the limitations of your method, and in order to contribute further in the field of the area, so that it could be a genuine and profitable research. Ethics. Ethics are much more important in order to start the research. We discussed earlier the principles of the ethics, the ethics itself, that what are the core important things within the ethics, like you should take care many things within the ethics. You should not harm any human or people. You should not disclose any information of a people by the research, or anything being used should have been considered under the certain rules and regulations. So ethics of the research describe and allows you to carry out the research ethically and legally. So the ethical constraints should have been described into your research proposal. The ethics, almost all research needs to be considered the ethics. So every research is basically being carried out initially by considering the ethics of the research, that whether ethically the research is allowed or not. In most cases, this relates to the ethical considerations of how the data will be collected. In this section, you should outline your awareness and understanding of ethical issues associated with your research proposal. Before you start the research on a particular topic, you should very well be very well aware that what type of research you want to do. For example, if you might have heard about the ATAS statement, when you really want to do any research in UK, then you should get your research approved from the ATAS. So ATAS gives you an approval that whether that particular research is allowed within the UK or not. So they really think about the ethics and certain security or the many concerns, whether those particular researches should have been carried out safely and for the educational purposes within the country or not. Probably they may not allow you to do any research on any sensitive area or topics which could harm or which could not be good for the benefits of the country or area or continent. So this is one kind of the ethical approach and ethical allowance to a particular topic. You should consider the rights of those being researched. Obviously, if you want to do any research on a particular topic or a person, so does that particular person allows you to be researched, include informed consent? Have you informed them that you are doing any research on particular, for example, on particular people or any industry or any company, whatever the resources, whatever the data you will be using about them, do they allow you to disclose? So that comes under the ethics of the research. Your responsibility and how the data will be collected, stored, and disposed of you. So definitely the research under the ethics can only allow you to use the data and store or dispose the data if they allow you. You should indicate whether your proposal will require approval from ethics committee, and if so, which one. For more information about research and ethics, at Massey University visit research. So every university has their own ethical research boundaries. So any research, as I gave an example, that ETAS allows you to do the research and to explain the boundaries of the research in between wherever necessary. Without ethical approval, you cannot and you should not carry out the research. Communicating the research results is basically producing the results and exposing the results. You may need to consider how the information you discover will be shared with the wider research community. So basically, the findings of the research, it is also most important aspect of your proposal, that how you will communicate and the result. Maybe you are able to produce any result 100% correct, maybe the 50% correct, or whatsoever the result, the quality of the result is, basically has to be produced, has to be discovered, shared with the wider research community. It is important to highlight that how your results will be communicated, will be displayed, so that any existing research or academic community could understand your research, could get a benefit from your results. In most cases, a written document, report, or research paper, thesis, or journal article is an appropriate means of communicate your findings. If your research is intended to assist a broader audience, for example, specific members of the community, other forms to disseminate your knowledge could include conferences, conference presentations, pamphlets, music and theoretical performances, film or journal media articles. So you can communicate your research results to any of the community, and so that they could get a benefit. Then significance of your research, that how significant your research is. This is also a part of your component of your research proposal. You need to identify the significance of your research. It is important to convince your reader for the validity of your research. For example, if you are doing any research and you are coming to a conclusion, you should have some significance and certain proofs, certain evaluation, the assessment and validity of your research. Whatever the results you are producing, it should have some significance and proof of concept that how accurate your results are. You need to communicate the enthusiasm and the confidence of your research, arguing clearly as to the contribution it will make to the subject area and discipline in the general. This is sometimes a separate section. In other instances, it forms a part of the introduction and background. You could also include into the introduction background that what was the expectations and how expectations would be fulfilled. But significance of the research really is important. It is really important. You need to give your confidence with proof that whatever the results you have, they are authentic. Then there is a timeline that estimates how long each task will take, helps determine the scope of your research and if it is achievable within a given time frame. If you say that you did a particular huge and very important research in a week, then possibly then the time it takes to the research to be done, is it feasible or not? So in order to start a research, it is most important that the time frame you have should be sufficient. And even also, if you are claiming any particular result, then the result should have been produced in particular time slide in a reasonable time slide. Otherwise, you cannot validate your research as per the time required of the research results should be reasonable. Your research proposal timeline should include time allocation for a detailed literature review, time for approval from the ethics committee, reviewing or testing of research design, data collection and analysis, and writing up of the findings. So the time management is not only the time taken for the validation of the result, but also the timing is spent on the literature review, approval of any ethical allowances, and reviewing and testing of your research design, data collection, and the write-up time you took. It is important to be realistic with the time frame. Consider if you are able to dedicate full-time work to the research. If it is to be conducted while you are studying other papers, working part-time or full-time, or have family commitments, whatever, the time is important in order to carry out the research. The budget is important. Often when requesting funding of research, budget is included to indicate where funds will be allocated. A budget may include items such as cost of survey design and printing, transcript, software, research assistance. This could include in the appendices. So obviously budget on getting the resources, budget on getting the literature review. Maybe you need to sign up for the journals, maybe you need to download or buy the certain articles as well. The references, it is most important to include all references you have used when writing your proposal. So the references are much more important. If you do not refer your work, that whatever the resources you have used and to whom you are referring, whether it is a research of the primary source, whether it is a research of the secondary resource, and in order to refer using the references, certain methods of referring, you need to include your references into your proposal, which this demonstrates that you are serious about your research and have invested both time and though into the process. Obviously, it gives you a clarity that you have references to each and every fact. If you don't include any reference of the existing research, then it can come under the plagiarism and the claiming of the work that you have done, or maybe you have missed any idea. The plagiarism itself is a big topic to be discussed, and what the plagiarism is, how to avoid the plagiarism, and these concerns should have been, the references helps you to give the contribution, give the value, give the space to any existing research, or give the credit to any research using references is much more important. So the references are very, very important for your document that you publish or write for your any of the research proposal or any of your article or any of your published work. Appendices, this may include copies of letters seeking participants, consent forms, draft surveys, questionnaires, or anything which is in the larger amount, or maybe there is lots of work you have done, maybe hundreds of questionnaires, maybe hundreds, anything which is in bulk, you should include in your research, but in the appendixes. Whoever the readers, if they are interested to look at those bulk researches, bulk experiments, bulk results, they will have a proof that you have done that particular those results, and for your information, for the information of the readers, whoever they are interested, in order to see the detailed analysis, the detailed copy of the data you have included, you have concluded on the basis of those things. Now, once you know your research proposal structure, then obviously you need to select certain collection methods, and methods could be exploratory research, descriptive research, analytical research, predictive research, and we have already discussed those the research methods and data collection methods already, and now we discuss that next topic is proposal feasibility. One of them is your topic should be feasible. How you can select a particular topic? Like you brainstorm the idea, read general background information, then focus on your topic, make a list of useful keywords, be flexible, define your topic as focused in the research question. So basically, selection of topic needs to be brainstormed, and it is not very easy to select in a minute, but you should really do a lot of work, and that how you can select your topic and the detail about these brainstorming ideas, read general background information, focusing on your topics, much more techniques and idea are given in this link. You can always go through this, and you should be very much careful about the scope of your research, and that scope basically gives you the boundary of the research, and that in which boundary you will be doing your research. The structure of your proposal should be title, abstract, introduction, research question, and the theoretical framework, methodology, design, ethics, the significance, timeline that we already discussed in the beginning. So your structure of the research proposal should be based like this, and the time management should have been done. The time is the act or process of planning, exercising conscious control over the amount of time spent on specific activities, especially to increase the effectiveness. So use time scales to split your research activities. So most important, time management, and steps for managing the data collection. You identify the issues and opportunities for collecting the data, select issues, plan and approach, collect data, analyze and interpret the data, and act on results. So data collection should have been gone through a managed process, and finally your results should have been analyzed and interpreted. So the today's session is completed now. We have discussed learning outcome 2, which discussed the research proposal feasibility, data collection, and research proposal structure. So do you have any?
No, sir, don't have any questions.
Okay. So I would advise you to go through this stuff again and again, and if you have any question, then you are most welcome to ask anytime. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So in the next session, we will cover the third learning outcome, and we will finish this unit in the next session. Okay.
All right, sir.
Okay then. Bye.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Bye.